Well, it may have taken me over a year to get my hands on this palette, but my hands on it I did get. So let's talk about it. Before we get too deep into this, let me introduce myself. My name is Lauren if you're new here, and if you're not and you're returning, thank you. You're amazing. Today we are going to be talking about a re-release of a very popular 2022 palette, and that is the Merry Christmas palette from Oden's Eye. This was not the only one that I got. Okay, we are going to be reviewing this one today, but I also picked up the Christmas Eve palette from Oden's Eye that was originally released in 2022. Now, if you did not know, these palettes from Oden's Eye sold out so fast, okay? They launched in holidays of 2022 and they were gone. They were gone. Everyone wanted them. Everyone loved them. They did not restock them until 2023, end of 2023, November of 2023. They finally decided, hey, you know what? It's the holidays again. We're going to relaunch these babies. Let's do it and let's sell out again, which they did. They sold out again. So you cannot actually get your hands on these palettes unless you go the Mercari or, eBay route. But I got my hands on them because I set an alarm for that launch, and I wanted to know if these were as good as everyone was saying. We're only going to be talking about the Merry Christmas palette today. We're going to be doing swatches of this one, but if you do want to see me review the Christmas Eve palette as well, they might come out with them again, who knows? But let me know in the comments below if you want me to talk about this one too. What I'm gonna do some swatches of this palette. I'm not gonna lie, it is beautiful. Everything Oden's Eye does, package-wise, is absolutely stunning. Like, they do a good job. Come on, you have to admit they do a good job. But this is the palette we will be reviewing today. This is the one that really caught my attention. This is the one that I decided, hey, it's a Sunday, I want to talk about this. Let's do it. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna do some swatches. We're gonna do a look, and then I'm gonna say if it's worth it or not. If I think you should purchase, hunt it down, set your alarms for next November in case they re-release it again. What's funny is that they also had a new holiday collection for 2023. Did not interest me. Did not pick that up at all. Was not even tempted. But when they said they were coming back out with these, I was all about it. But let's get into the swatches and then let's get into the look. So I will stop talking now and do some swatches. Okay, I'm really excited. I have not even touched this guy since I got him. So let's get a feel for what these eyeshadows are like. Oh, starting off strong. Okay, this is Elf Wish. Matcha Cookies. Is that a Christmas thing? It's chocolate chip. Jingle Bell. And New Leaf. Go over this one more time. There we go, it's a little better. Then we have Snowman, which is just very sheer. Best Wish. Christmas Tree. New Year. Little Star. Gingerbread. Bless. Poinsettia. Move my arm up a little bit for Hot Cocoa. I think it's All Night. Happy Ending. And Santa star. Okay, here's the whole palette swatched. Let's put it on my eyes and see if it's worth it. Now, I'm just gonna say it, after swatching this palette, first off, it felt dry. A lot of the eyeshadows felt pretty dry, so I was a little concerned about that. And also, when I swatched it, I was like, oh, it's kind of all over the place color story-wise, isn't it? Okay, what am I gonna do? I don't know. Still don't know. You know what? We're just going to launch into something, because why not? And you know I love green. You know I love green. So let's kind of do a more greeny look, because honestly, this color New Year, I just have to use. So let's start in the corner with New Leaf. Now, as I said, I felt like some of these colors just felt very dry when I was swatching them. I was kind of surprised. And it almost felt like, I don't know if they were older, like maybe like this was a palette they just found in a closet somewhere and they're like, hey, where have you been, buddy? Let's re-release you. I mean, no, it sold out so quickly the first time. Like, it's it's not an old palette. They definitely took their time remaking it, but I don't know. I was surprised by how dry some of the shimmers felt. I do like that green though. It's a pretty green and it's going on fine, which is good. So not dry. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I am doing the same look on both eyes today, even though sometimes I say that and then I change my mind halfway through. But we are doing the same look for once. It's been a hot minute since I've done an actual look versus just putting on a single shadow and running out the door. I just feel like these holidays were a little bit crazy, especially work-wise, so I am excited to kind of be slowing down a little bit and be doing like some actual eyeshadow looks, because I like being able to do a look. I like being able to put in the time to do a look, and I just don't always have that time, you know? So that went on really nice, I will say. No problems there. It's very green. But let's go into, do we want to do a really dark look? It's interesting, this color story, because we don't have too many darker colors to deepen the look. We've got hot cocoa, we've got Christmas tree, well, we've got a black happy ending, which we will not be touching. I typically just don't wear blacks this dark because I just feel like it ages me a little bit. It's just doing a really dark look on my eyelids, I think kind of emphasizes the hollows in my face, not in a flattering model-esque way, but like the ones under my eyes, you know? But I think what we're gonna do, I really wanna go in a Christmas tree. I know. Everyone was like, we knew you were gonna do that anyways. So I don't wanna disappoint you guys, so I'll go into it. We're doing a very green look. I think this was one of the ones too that I swatched and I was like, you're a little drier than I thought you would be. It just, I don't know. I guess I'm just so used to like working with all these like super kind of more slick feeling shadows, a little more water in them. These just surprise me. And there is some kick up in the pan, I can see it, but it's not too bad. We haven't been seeing a whole lot of fallout, I should say yet, because we just started. Okay, I thought this green was going to be really, really deep, almost too deep, and it's very much deepening up as I layer it on, but it didn't start off really deep. So I think these shadows are definitely buildable, which I prefer. I like having the ability to choose how deep I want them to be, and that's actually really nice. I came here after swatching, came here on camera and was fully invested in saying that this palette was a disappointment. And I can't do that, at least not yet, okay? Because that color, Christmas Tree, I just think is absolutely gorgeous. I think it really paired well with New Leaf as well. I just think they blended, and I put my finger in it, of course I did. But they just blended really well together. I took some time to blend Christmas Tree out, and I think it blended out beautifully. There was no like decrease in the pigmentation, and it layers really well within itself, so you actually can build up the color, which I really like. And yeah, I was ready to not like it. Now I like being surprised though. I like being surprised. But we're not done yet. We're not done. So let's go into, since we are here, Let's go into Jingle Bell. It looks like a goldy green, which I really like. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to put, oh, this is the one that's actually very kind of sheer. I'm gonna put some like right on the middle just to see how it layers on top of that green. And of course it's layering beautifully, of course. It's definitely a color that does not have a lot of pigment to it. Like the base color is sheer. So instead of having, you know, a white or a black base, it's sheer. So it really, you can layer it on top of anything and it looks pretty good. Yeah, that looks good. That looks good, okay. Yeah, I sound like I'm disappointed. I'm not. Actually, I'm really glad because I waited for a while for this palette and then I got it and I was like, do I review it? Do I hold on to it? Like, do I just use it for like my personal life? I don't know. I was just very confused. I was confusing myself. But you know what I'm not confused about? The next color I want to use. It has to be New Year. It has to be this color. It is just absolutely stunning. So I'm going to take some on a brush. We're going to hope a brush will pick this product up because sometimes shimmers just work really well with your finger. And it looks like it's picking up pretty well on a brush. And I'm just going to press it into the rest of my eye. A lot of the time with shimmers, I use my finger just because I feel like it picks up the most pigment. And I think if I went in with my finger, it would create even a deeper green look. But I really like how it looks just picking it up on the brush. It still has quite a bit of pigmentation to it. Using the brush worked perfectly, but I think we could go even deeper if we wanted to. I actually really like it like this. I like how it's blending with the Jingle Bell color as well, the other sparkle shimmer. It's just really, really pretty. I really like it. I am a huge fan of greens. I know we keep talking about this, but I just love them so much. So it's always actually really exciting when I find a good one. But we are gonna lastly, I think we're gonna go into gingerbread here. I'm gonna put that underneath my waterline and yeah, I think that's it. I think that's kind of like the perfect look for what I wanted today. Gingerbread is very orange, so just kind of keep that in mind. It looks kind of like a brownie orange. It is. It's a brownie orange, like a burnt umber, I would say. It's pretty. It's very pigmented. And actually really quick, I'm just going to quickly dip into Snowman here and put that in the corner of my eyes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray my brush with my little my travel size MAC Fix-It. This isn't even travel size. This is a full-on sample size. Okay, there we go. And that always helps kind of hold the pigment to the brush. And we're just going to go into Snowman, pick some of that up, and just put that right in the corner. Stuck some green to it too, which is pretty. Goes with the look. The orange is throwing me off. I don't know if I love using gingerbread underneath the waterline. Let's see. We're gonna remove a little bit of it. Here's my makeup eraser. Yeah, that's a little better. I didn't love how orange it was. Sometimes I'm in the mood for green and orange, sometimes I'm not. But real fast, I think I'm just gonna go back into New Leaf. I'm gonna put some of that underneath my waterline because overall I like that color a lot better with this look. And it's just kind of negating some of that orange a little bit. It's not really adding a whole lot of color. I just wanted to clean up that orange because I didn't love it. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna put on some eyeliner and some mascara, come back here, and I wanna use one of these as a highlighter. So I'm gonna think about what color I think would look best as a highlighter. We're gonna do that, and then we are going to talk about this palette, if it was worth the year-long wait for them to restock it, and if I would recommend it to you. I feel like this look is giving kind of like swampy sea creature vibes, which I don't hate at all. But let's do some highlighter. I have actually a Oden's eye highlighter in my project pan that I am working on, but we are gonna see if any of these will work as a highlighter. Now, this one I think is too gold and too soft. That one won't work. But Little Star, it's very gold. It's kind of a goldy pink. Let's try that one. So we're gonna go into this one. and see if we can use it as a highlighter. I'm gonna do a similar thing that I did with the inner eye color. I have my brush and I'm gonna go ahead and spray it with my MAC Fix Plus. Let it dry down a little bit. This will make it easier for the brush to grab onto the pigments. And let's see if we can make this a highlighter, guys. Oh, okay. It is definitely like a pinky orange color. It's really pretty. It's definitely, I think, too pigmented for me to use as a highlighter. But we tried. It's not bad, right? It's not bad. It's not a typical highlighter that I would use, but you know, we wanted to try it out, right? We might as well get as much use out of this palette as possible, having had to wait over a year for it to return. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about Oden's Eye Merry Christmas palette. Do I think it was worth all that hype? Do I think it was worth them re-releasing it, waiting a year? Oh, those are great questions. I like this palette. I think this is a good palette. When I swatched it, I was a little disappointed at how the shadows felt. You know, I really like creamier feeling shadows, and these ones felt a little bit dry. They swatched really beautifully, but I always say you can't always trust swatches. The skin on your arm is different than the skin on your eye, so it's gonna look different in both places, right? But as I went into it and started using the pigments, I really liked it. I actually thought they all worked beautifully. I purposely wanted to go into Christmas Tree because it was one of those shadows that felt drier. I don't know if it was like the imprint that's on top of it, making it just a little bit harder to pick up and do swatches with. That could have been it, but it blended out so beautifully. It was so easy to use. There was no fallout from that color, which is good because having a deep green like that, it's hard to clean that off your face. So I'm glad I didn't need to worry about that. I thought New Leaf went on really well as well. I went a little crazy with it. Even though I didn't like Gingerbread very much for the color, it was still very soft. It still went on very well. And for the shimmers, that's the important part, right? The shimmers. New Year, I thought was so beautiful. It's such a pretty green. It went on really well. Now, we also used Jingle Bell. We used Snowman. Those ones were both a lot more sheer, but I thought Jingle Bell was so pretty putting on top of Christmas Tree here. I just think that gold is just so finely pigmented. It's beautiful. It just looks great layered on top of a deep matte like that. With Snowman, that is what we use for the inner color. It's another one that's really sheer, so I think similar to the Jingle Bell color where it would be great layering on top of a dark color. I didn't like it as much as an inner eye kind of highlight. I mean, it wasn't really my favorite. It was fine, but I just have better colors for something like an inner eye highlight. Also, it has some like green reflex in it, which is interesting, so that's why I think it would do better on something in like a, you know, a darker green. Like I think it'd look really beautiful on Christmas Tree as well. Now, using Little Star as a highlighter was an experiment. I wouldn't say it completely failed, but it's not a color that I would pick to use as a highlighter in the future. I would just use it as an eyeshadow, I think. It's just a little too pigmented for what I like for my highlighters, for my skin tone. So we tried though. It's always good to try something, right? Overall, for $42, do I think I got my money's worth? Yeah, I think so. I think it's a good palette. I think though, in the indie industry where there's so many great eyeshadow formulas, Oden's Eye is good. It's not my favorite. There are a couple other indie brands like Give Me Glow and Ensley Rain. I just love how their eyeshadows feel. They're very soft, they're very creamy, and they're still really pigmented. I do like Oden's Eye. I'm not saying I don't. I do like Oden's Eye, but I think it's kind of more of like in the mid-range of my favorite indie brands. One thing though where Oden Eye kills it every single time is the packaging. Packaging is absolutely beautiful. I just think, yeah, this is beautiful. Also, really fast, I commented about this in the beginning, but the color story is weird. The color story is a little bit all over the place, I find. And I mean, like, it's totally usable. Like, if you kind of look at this palette and divide it up by quadrants, I think the quadrants work really well together. This is just an interesting bottom quad, but I think that it's kind of an easier way for me to visualize looks, breaking them up into quadrants like that. They make more sense to me like that, color story wise. Looking at it as a whole, it kind of feels a little bit all over the place to me. I mean, we ended up pulling off a perfectly beautiful look. So it's not like you can't make a cohesive look with this palette. It's enough colors to choose from. But it was just, I don't know, a little chaotic in my eyes. Overall, I'm glad I picked it up so I could understand the hype. Are they gonna relaunch it again? Kind of curious to see if they end up bringing it back in 2024. We will see. Also, don't forget to comment below if you want me to review the Christmas Eve palette from that collection. It looks like this, just as a reminder. It's a beautiful palette, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to review both. But if you want to see it, let me know, because who knows, they might bring them both back. We don't know. We don't know. You'll have to let me know down below if you ended up grabbing either of the two re-releases from Oden's Eye. If you like them, if you're a little disappointed, I'm curious, let me know. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye!